So, if our understanding is that teachers aren't given a syllabus or aren't given training in how to provide sexual education, if it's not a core part of what they do, um, we can understand that there's some real fear and anxiety about it. And so, teachers are human too, and so that when they step in front of a class of 30 young people that could be in year 7 and might have a whole bunch of interesting questions about sexuality, or they might be in year 12 and have a whole bunch of interesting questions about sexuality. There's a real nervousness that comes there. They could be nervous about things like how is my sexuality going to be perceived about what I teach? What kind of questions am I going to bring up in class that other young people might receive some verbal or physical harassment about? Basically, what kind of Pandora's box am I opening here? And that could be one fear. Another real fear of teachers is the sense of permission that can be perceived by bringing up sexuality, meaning that if I talk about sex as a teacher, what does it mean for that young student who goes home to their parent and says, my teacher said X, Y, and Z, and then 3 months later that young person ends up pregnant, or that young person gets pregnant or ends up with an STI, or a whole host of things that aren't the positive side of sexuality. There's a real fear there. And so if teachers aren't teaching to a syllabus where they can fall back on it and say, this is what I got taught to teach, this is how we set it at a safe level, there's a real fear that comes from teachers that they're going to receive a backlash from the community, a backlash from parents, students, and other teachers. The quote that you'll see on the PowerPoint provided comes from Spanier that says that there's no real link between participation in sexual education based in schools and an increase in the sexual behaviour. There's also more information that I've found that said that there's actually a link that says there's no correlation between sexual education, the first sexual experience, and that a young person's first sexual experience actually happens slightly later in life if they receive a healthy sexual education program when they're younger. That's really, really important for us to understand, that when we're talking with young people and we're working in schools and we're working with schools about when is their sexual education happening, who is giving it, and who is the best person to provide that education.